Hello everybody, hope you're all well. This one is going to be a few things, a few subjects. So I'll probably do it in little chunks and then stick it all together, glue it together or whatever and put it up. First of all, I wanted to touch on the last video we did where I said what the hell is actually, well, what is really going on. And it was nice, we had quite a few people commenting there and it's good to see that, so we're kind of getting the conversation going. But I did want to touch on something that perhaps didn't come across in that particular video. What you need to know, people who are watching me, is that I most certainly don't know everything. Okay, when I know a fact, I normally say this is a fact, and when I say in my opinion, obviously that's my opinion. And what I'm trying to get across is that this is the same sort of thing with media. Now, over the last few years, obviously, we have been battered with fake news. And we have. It's as simple as that. There's a lot of truths coming out, and I'll touch on that in a moment. But what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that although we know some of the footage from Ukraine was not real footage, that's not to say that some of those things aren't happening. Do you get what I mean? You have to make your own decision on these things. There is most definitely something horrific going on. There's most definitely a war, but there's also a hell of a lot of fear mongering. And the war I feel that we're in is more to do with an information war for us personally. Now, you know, obviously this whole thing could escalate. But there's one thing I said in that video saying about the fear mongering about the red button? Putin button. And I did have a couple of comments coming back, well, that's what Putin said. He's put his nuclear on standby. Well, here's something for you. Nuclear is always on standby. That I can tell you. You've got to think about that from your head. This is something Putin said, yes, and obviously it was to wind people up. But the way the press handled it, I think, was abhorrent, because they know full well that us as our own countries, and probably every country from everyone that's listening here, if they've got nuclear, it's always been on standby. Do you think there's not submarines, our nuclear submarines, circling around somewhere in the Black Sea or the Baltic, or you know, or off the coast of Norway? Do you honestly think that? They are. I'm pretty certain of that. But I'm not 100% certain, but I think they are. So you do get what I'm saying. So you've got to, what I'm asking you to do is when you hear something either in the mainstream media, alternative media, on the internet, you know, on Twitter, on MeWe, from me, check it yourself, because that's the only way you'll get a balanced opinion. This is what I was trying to get across. I need to know both sides myself. When I'm searching stuff out, I try to find both sides of the story, and then I can make an informed decision, and I prefer things like that. So talking about the fake news, I hope I don't get banned for this, what I'm going to say now, because this is fact. This was put out on GB News a couple of days ago, I think. And it was actually reported originally in the Telegraph. So obviously it hasn't gone out to a massive audience. But there's two things, actually. The first one being that Sage have had to admit that they got it completely wrong. This is where I'm talking about the fear mongering. They said that the Ommi, or the Ommi, would kill 6,000 people a day. That was their estimate. It never hit anything like that. And I certainly knew it wouldn't. I knew that was bollocks. The most that died in a day was 300, which is comparable to seasonal flu. So you have to wonder why Sage are doing that. And they've done that throughout. I'm in absolutely no doubt about that. But you can go onto the ONS website, if you're British, English, and you can have a proper look. And you can see. And the video I got banned for, I was stating fact, because YouTube didn't like the fact that this whole situation, or the amount of people who unfortunately passed, wasn't as high as they wanted it to be. And that's another thing. I can't understand why so many people are egging this on to be worse than it actually is. Both the old issue and the war. It seems that they revel in other people's despair, or they just, it gives them something to talk about. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But one thing I have 100% noticed, and I can say, obviously this is what I've noticed because of the social media networks I frequent. And let me just put a caveat there. When I'm on Twitter and stuff like that, I don't just follow all the right-wing stuff or the centre. I follow it from everything. I follow some climate change gobshites. I follow some real lefty idiots like Owen Jones. Now, I know I'm saying they're idiots, but I think they are. And obviously then I follow your mainstream. And I follow people like Farage and GB News, Maatusi and all that sort of stuff. So I have a wide spectrum. But what I have noticed about the people who seem to be willing this on, and that's, I honest to God do believe they want, well, they do, they've come out and straight away and said, oh, we need to lock down, we need to do this, we need to do that. And they all seem to be the same type. Most of them, and this is the truth, this is what I'm seeing, most of them either have an EU flag in their profile, or they have the FBPE tag next to it, or they're some climate change nutter, some evangelist, or they're proper socialists, or wokes, or, you know, people who think that there's more genders than two. It's those same people that seem to be pushing this and fear-mongering and wanting worse. Now, let me tell you, if they had gone through what me and Lee had gone through, right, and lost our business, and many of you I know, also, you know, one of my best friends, he lost everything too. He can't even go to see his son abroad because he won't do that. And just a caveat on that as well, while I remember, don't anyone ever dare say, well, just have it and then you'll be able to see your son, because you should do anything for your son, you should just do it. No, he's doing it for his son, you fools. He is doing it for his son. You allow mandates for injectables or any type of medication, it's going to hit our kids, okay, our children, our grandchildren's children. They are not going to have bodily autonomy if we just roll over and allow this all to happen. And this is why people like myself and a lot of my friends are all steadfast on this. There's a reason. It's not to be a smart ass. It's not because we're anti-vax. It's because we don't trust. We do not trust this technology. There is no way this could have been developed so quickly if they didn't know something else. And that's my opinion, okay? But there are some facts in there as well. There's some strong, what do you call it, of evidence to show that all this hasn't been as it seems to be. Now, the other thing that isn't being put on the mainstream media, as that was actually done in the Telegraph, was so far there's around 1,000 people who have gone to their lawyers and are suing the government for serious adverse effects. Okay, over 1,000 people, around 1,000 people. That means there's some law in place anyway. I know that the Pfizer and all that lot have no liability, which seriously, that should be the red flag straight away. They have no liability. So these people who have had adverse reactions, serious adverse reactions, so I'm not talking about sponges, they will get around £120,000 each if it is proven. Now, this is where I have a problem. While it's terrible that people are suffering adverse effects, it's me and you that are going to be paying for it, because they're able to sue the government rather than sue the drug companies. That has to be wrong. Can you not see? That has to be wrong. So if that got onto the BBC, that 1,000 or so at the moment already are going for this, you know what will happen, won't you? There'll be hundreds of thousands, because loads of people have had what we're just talking about. It hasn't gone as well as they make out. Just look at the amount of sportsmen falling on the floor. So yeah, so that's my little caveat. Oh, it's not caveat, that's my little point for this at the moment. I will come back in a mo. Although I don't trust the mainstream media, I don't distrust every single story the mainstream media put out. I hope that's clear. I only mistrust them because of the way they've acted, probably over the last 10 to 20 years really. So that's why there's distrust, and that's why you have to do your own research and not just believe commentators like me or Maatusi or Belfield or whoever else you watch, you know, lefty ones, whatever. You have to seek out the truth as much as you can, so that your soul knows where it is. So you know where you're at. So yeah, I'll come back to you in a minute because I've got something else I want to say, but I have to think about it. See you in a minute. Actually, there's one more thing I need to add about the Russia-Ukraine thing, which I'm finding quite disturbing. I'm seeing there was a report yesterday of some Russian shop in Germany getting daubed with paint and smashed up, and it's not the Russian people's fault. I don't like it when things get like this. It's not the Russian people's fault no more than it is Ukrainians people's fault. So please don't hate on them. I was disturbed because I don't understand. When I was watching Luton versus Chelsea, the first part of that show was all about Roman Abramovich and him having to sell Chelsea, and now they're on about investigating and all that sort. So what are they doing? We're picking on rich people. Is that what this is, just because he's Russian? That don't sit right with me, I'm afraid. I mean, I don't really know what they mean by oligarch. I think that's another word bandied about. Oligarch just means someone who's rich. An oligarch, I mean, has Roman Abramovich got anything to do with Putin? No. I really highly doubt that. So, you know, I'm not a great big Chelsea fan or nothing, but I do believe that justice should be served, and people, not justice should be served, that's the wrong thing to say, or is it? I think they shouldn't be bullied. Look, one thing you got to remember in this is saying, you know, don't persecute Russian people or Ukrainian people over what's going on. They didn't do this. It's the nutters in control that did it. Okay? So I think I'll just leave that bit there. Anyway, we'll move on. Right then, before we get on to the next subject, and if you're enjoying this video, and I don't normally ask this, but can you please make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this video far and wide. We want to get up to 1,000 subscribers. We need to get up to the next stage. So we want to get 1,000 subscribers. I think we're at 224 at the moment, which wasn't a bad start. Yes, we get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. That's what we need. And then we can grow this channel and make it huge. I know it'll only ever be a small channel, but I thought I'd ask anyway. Here's the next subject. Bye. Right, this one's a little bit off the wall, and you might think I'm a complete nutter. But once you've heard, if I can get this across right and you've heard me through, you'll probably get what I'm trying to say. Okay, this is actually inspired by a response to the last video we did from Auntie Ruth, who talked about her being brought up under a certain religious belief system and how that affected her life, and that she basically hated it. I think that's all right, isn't it? Please don't, if I've got this wrong, you come back at me and tell me. So Auntie Ruth I'm talking to now, if I've got this wrong, make sure you do let me know, and I shall put it right. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, if I said to you, you've got to have faith, what image does that conjure up in your mind? I'm guessing for many it will mean religion. Okay, now I'm not a particularly religious person, I'll be straight up with you. I don't believe there's some person up there that made everything, but then what do I know? That's just, I don't think so. Okay, I don't think there's any afterlife, I don't think there's anything like that. I hope there is, and I hope those people of that belief system are completely right. Okay, but what I'm getting across here is my faith is I have faith in people. I have faith in people to do the right thing in the end. Now, the good people will. Obviously, you'll have bad people that won't do the right thing and never will do the right thing. But I have faith in general that most critically thinking, nice, good people will always come good in the end. I also have faith in Mother Nature. She controls this world, not our governments. Our governments are just pawns. They're the ones who try to control us. And this is where I'm going. There's two types of faith for me. There's personal faith, just faith, free thinking faith. And then there's conditional faith. Now, I see religion as a conditional faith, because if you don't follow whatever book it is that they go by, then you will not go to a better place in the afterlife. That's conditional. I can't see that that's right. That's someone making up the rules. You don't know who's done this. So someone's made up some rules that you have to follow in order to get what you want in the end. That doesn't work for me, you see. Now, this is what I'm wondering. Is this what's going on at the moment? I'm not talking about religion. This is what I'm saying, this sounds a bit weird, but hopefully this segue will help you understand where I'm going with this. Is everything that's going on at the moment a way of shepherding? What do I mean by shepherding? I mean like as in religion. We are being told to follow a certain set of rules. Now don't get me wrong, we have to have some sort of order in the world, or else it would be anarchy. So I'm not an anarchist, okay? There has to be some sort of order. But there seems to be certain narratives going on, and if you do not go by that narrative, you're a bad person. So like, I am seen as a bad person because I wouldn't do this. I'm not looking after granny. I'm not looking after, you know, my children. I'm a bad person because I won't go along with the narrative. Now this can be identified in many things in life. It's the same when we saw for us Brits, we saw the Brexit thing. And all we got from the FBPE lot are we're all thick, we're racist, we're xenophobic, we're every phobicist and everything that you could even think of. You see, they're trying to push you, they're shepherding you into their belief system. That's not correct. I would like to think that when I talk on here, and I know we're a tiny channel, but I would like to think that I'm not shepherding you in any way. I'm one of these people who just wants you to listen, and not just to me, listen to lots of voices, and if you've got time then you can form your own opinion. And I know it's difficult for a lot of people, but that's what I think about faith. I like, as I say, my faith is in myself, my family, good people, planet Earth, and all those type of things, and I will not be shepherded either way. I will take my path, and I encourage everyone to take your path, take what you believe in. Never lose your faith, but don't have conditional faith. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, that's it, I think, for this one. Bit mad, wasn't it? Speak to you later, bye.